Welcome to Let's Roger That. I'm Jill. Today, I'm going to make miniature tap holders. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So keep watching and let's go make something. Before I keep going and actually show you how to make these little tap holders, let's talk about why I want to make little tap holders. Well, first of all, like this, for example, is a 1 millimeter tap. It is very small. So if you put too much pressure on that puppy, you're gonna break it. You break it in your piece, the piece is toast, the tap is toast, and now you're waiting for new parts, new tools. So not cool. If you're using, tap holders that are this big and you got a little tiny tap, well, the reality is you just can't feel the actual pressure as you exert it. And you won't feel, say, for example, a little bit of flex in the tap, and that's when the breakage can occur. Even one of these, for example, which is fairly small and light, will not transmit the amount of force. It'll transmit the force, but it won't give you the feel of the amount of force you are actually exerting on the tap. So, lately I've watched a video by Joe Pieczynski, is his real name. He's a great teacher, check out his channel. And he recommended making something like this. Now his is different, it's in two parts. It has additional work built into it. And so I wanted to make it simpler because I like to Let's Roger that. And so I think you're gonna find this interesting. This is a great way, make a fun little tool that's gonna be very useful for a long time in your shop. And it gives you a lot more control over your little tiny tap as you work it into your piece and less chance of breaking your taps. And let's face it, the good ones aren't cheap. So, let's make something.
Here I'm starting by using a piece of 1¼ inch diameter cold roll steel. This is 1018 mild steel. It's very easy to work and gives me great results. I'm knurling it using a medium-sized knurl. I like it. It's not too rough on the hands and it provides a good grip. Now, as you see, my lathe is running in back gears and running quite slowly. The trick that I find to getting success in knurling is usually by running really slow, using a fair bit of oil, and running in my knurler approximately 30 to 40 thousandths of an inch into the piece. So this knurl piece is going to get cut into two pieces of approximately 3/8 of an inch in thickness and will become the primary holding system for those miniature tap holders. Okay, so now I'm drilling the holes that are the correct diameters for the taps that are going to sit in this little holder, and we'll drill that to a depth of 1 inch, and it allowed me to cut two pieces out of it.
I've put a light groove into the piece now. What I like to do before I actually keep going and cut it off, in this case at 3/8, right on the line, I like to simply just chamfer the edges a little touch. So what I'm going to do is that. Alright, so let's go. Let's go with that. That's all I need. Just to show you here. See? So now we got a nice little chamfer, and I don't have to use a file later, and it'll work out just great. Now we proceed and just cut off the rest. Okay, I'm centered again. Great. Lock up my saddle. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that I've got the width that I want before I cut into the piece and part it off. And I'm looking for about 3/8 of an inch. In this case, though, I don't have that much left just because of the cut that I made. So I've got 5/16 of knurling. So I'm going to keep that right there. Lock the carriage and proceed with the cut. I was talking about the finish I'm getting with these cobalt parting off tools. Look at that. Pretty nice. So this is the kind of knurling we got on this piece. A little bit of sanding and polishing to be done on this side, of course. But this is going to look good. Okay, so I've got a 1 inch piece of scrap 1018 steel here. And essentially, all we need to do is give it a little bit of some shape, drill through for the size of our tap shank, and Bob's our uncle. So let's carve out a little bit of this piece. Now this doesn't have to be precise, so we'll just eyeball it. About a quarter of that diameter, I'd say that should be a trick, which is half of this. The final pass, sure, get a nice clean cut. So essentially, I taking off 250 thousandths of an inch. Right? You use the feed, but right now I haven't. There we go. That should do the trick. Stop that now. Okay. Pull out the piece. Give it a chamfer. We don't have to go crazy here, but it's kind of cool. straighten out this 45-degree bit. Alright. And the end part's a little delicate, so we'll do that by hand. And the rest I'll do with the cutting tool. Remove my stop. Because I want a 45-degree chamfer, I put my tool's edge right on the edge of that diameter, and I'm going to go in with it. Manually. Like I said, it doesn't require a great deal of precision. There we go. That's it for that. So now, add a little polish. Remember always to keep your hands away. These. All right. Swap that around and finish that up. Now, don't have to carve anything out here, we just have to face. Actually, no, I've already faced that, so that's good. So we can get some fine paper. Let's just use some 320. All right, here we go. There we are. So now, what remains to be done is drilling the hole to accommodate the shaft. Okay. So now, just go in here with this center bit, just to guide things correctly. I'm going to start this with a 1/8 of an inch bit. Remember, the piece is 1 inch and 1 inch long. We're going to take our time to do this, not break anything. There we go. appropriate diameter. And this is not a precision hole. Otherwise I would use a reamer to get that there. Okay, so the hole's going to be is 532. So we'll put the appropriate bit in there and just drill it. Alright, a little tiny bit of oil. Essentially we have a hole here that doesn't have to be, it just has to be enlarged. It'll be easier. There we are. So at this point, I just have to give this a light chamfer. I'll do that manually at the bench. And then we'll have to take this to the drill press. Okay, so I've got my pieces machined. And I got to thinking that I'm not a big fan of having two separate pieces. I want this thing to, you know, I'm okay with those they're serving as handles, and of course as grabbing to this, and then of course there's a set screw in this handle there, but I could eliminate the set screw that's here in this knob and just use these two, which serves as handle, and that'll do just fine. And but this is what you use to turn, so how do you fix that problem? And I think I could just put beads of welding here. So I'm going to weld these two pieces together, and I'm just going to use broken bits as my my helper to make sure it stays lined up and centered, and that'll be plenty. But before I weld this, I need to drill and tap some 832 holes in here to accommodate these. So that's what's next. Okay, fine. I'll show you how I'm going to get everything lined up. So essentially, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put that in here, and I'm just going to scribe a line down the center of this here. So let's do that. Doesn't have to be lovely or anything, but anyway, that's the whole idea, is to, you know, get this sort of centered and on each side. So now I want to make sure the same distance centered on this thing. So let's just pick a, let's have a quick look to see how long this is. All right, so it's 1/2 inch, right? So let's go 1/4 inch, 250. Just like that, good enough. Okay, lock her up. There we go, look at that, wow. Okay, so we got that. Let's find a punch. You know, there's certain things I spend money on. This is worth it. A start punch. Trust me, get the good ones. Pay once. All right, so we'll line up on that little X that we got here. And just like so, here we are. I got my little punch marks, and now I can drill through. And actually, I'm going to drill right through, and then I'll tap this for that those 832s, and I'll do the same on the other one. Once that's done, I'll put a couple tacks of weld to join these two things, and then it'll be one. So one less screw. I think it's the way to go. Now I could have just welded this here and then put the set screw here, but I still have to put the two bolts in here for, you know, to act as levers. So I might as well just do the one. Plus, let's face it, this is let's Roger that. So we're gonna let's Roger it. All right, let's start with a center drill. There we go. Great. There we go. And there we have it. That's it for this one. Yeah. Nice all the way through, so I'll chamfer for that. Once it's tapped, I'm gonna put my drill bit through here again and clean that up. Okay, so the hole's drilled through. I've tapped 832. The bolts fit nicely. So now, gotta weld these two pieces together, this one and that one. And maybe go back to the lathe, make it look nice and fancy, and it'll be ready to work. Okay, so I've got the two pieces welded together. Like I said, I'm just gonna fancy them up a little bit. So just show you, you know, like everybody says, these crappy carbide soldered on type bits, well, they're pretty good actually. Once I figured out from blades to be that you need to sharpen these things. They don't come sharpened. So if you get these, they work pretty good once you sharpen them. So let's put them to use, okay? Shall we? Here we go. Train. Alright, let's have a quick look at this thing. So we're not aiming for perfection. I think that'll do. I could do more. Let's do more. Let's maybe I'm being too fussy here. Okay, not bad. That's it, right there. Yes. That's not bad. All right, let's turn this around. We'll give the knurled portion a light brushing. That, my friends, should do the trick. For me, anyway. Voila. So, you can do some rough work and turn it into something nice. Right? By the way, with the wire brush, it sort of smooths the rough edges of the knurling, which is nice. That's how I like to do it. So we've got a pretty nice finish here. All right, moving on. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These are little tap holders. As recommended by Joe Pie. Check out his channel. He is an incredible teacher. All kinds of good tips out there, but it doesn't mean you have to go exactly as prescribed. As you see, I welded mine. They're not two-piece, so I didn't have to put a set screw in this head. Now remember to drill through, because you're going to want to use, for example, you're going to want to let the tap come through, so you can let it rest inside a tap follower, so you can align your tap into your piece. Now these, what do you think I'm going to use these for? Well, I'm going to make a carbide end mill, a 1-inch carbide end mill with inserts, and these will be used to tap the holes for those little screws, little set screws for the inserts. So that should be fun. I've been working on a prototype. So anyway, as you can see, I've got one made with a 45-degree cut. The other one is round. I just did that for fun. It's good practice. So don't be afraid to weld and then, clean it up and make something that looks nice afterwards if you really need to. But these are tools. You don't need to make them look pretty. I just thought I'd show you some cool little things. So thanks for joining me, folks. Please like and subscribe, and take care. Ciao.